I opened shared albums at 12:52 a.m. The live photo laughed without me. I'm not jealous of pictures, I'm jealous of frames. Pictures can be wrong kindly. Frames decide what counts. At 12:52 a.m., a dot of insomnia and the laziness of my thumb teamed up and opened photos. I meant to scroll toward last summer, proof that sunlight once had my name on it. Instead, I tapped shared albums, which is a terrible name for a place that lets you borrow your own breath and realize it wasn't meant for you. The thumbnail was new, favorited, and familiar. Sam in our bathroom mirror, half-lit, hair damp, the vanity clutter admitting we are not the kind of people who win at surfaces. His mouth wearing a smile that put on my shirt and buttoned it wrong. Live photo. I pressed and held, which is how you ask a picture to confess. The room inhaled, the zip of a jacket, the glass bottle click of cologne, the soft insistence of water leaving the faucet wrong. And then a laugh just left of the frame. A man's laugh, the kind that lands like a coin and waits for a decision. "You look fine," he said, not unkindly. It wasn't me. I watched it again because that's how disbelief bargains. I told myself it could be the radio, a neighbor, an echo that borrowed vowels. But the laugh did what laughs do when they're comfortable. It returned to the same place in the air. I turned the phone face down, which is a religion if you practice it perfectly, and stared at the ceiling that has learned my questions by shape. Sam had texted at 10:40, "Studio late, don't wait." He often says late like a weather report says chance. I am trying to be the kind of person who sleeps anyway. I am also the kind of person who boils water on principle. At 7:05 a.m., I let the kettle be the one consistent appliance we own. I poured 2 mugs and left the live photo open on the counter like a headline I couldn't make smaller. He came into the kitchen wearing my favorite hoodie on a man I was trying hard to keep. "You're up," he said. "The bathroom thinks it's a short film," I said, turning the screen toward him. He watched. He did the thing with his pupils where they get ambitious. He said, "Ah," which is his 3-second vowel for let me buy time before honesty clears its throat. "That's the night Luca came by with the new preamp," he said. "We tested at ours because the studio was being colonized by a drum kit." He laughed at the way I keep the razor caps. "The radio," I said, because sometimes I like to help people lie correctly. "The radio," he agreed, which is worse than being wrong. I'm not a detective. I edit sound for films that mistake patience for plot. If you give me a lie, I don't know where to put the echo. I texted Matt, my emergency adult. "Lunch, I have a live photo and an inside voice." He wrote back, 12:40, "Bring one question, not a screenplay." At the north side, Matt listened with his head tilted like a mechanic hunting a rattle. "What you know," he said, "is a laugh learned your bathroom. What you want is to stay a person, not a bouncer. Ask why or who, not both. If you ask both, the night gets to write the story." This is the kind of advice that sounds like a trick and works like a tool. At home, I wrote on the fridge the way therapists want you to. Under the rubber orange that keeps our rules magnetized, I added, "What happens out there passes through this table first." Sam put both palms down because hands hide less when they're flat. "Which question?" he asked. "Why is our mirror wearing laughter? I don't know," I said. He looked at the wall where the paint has decided to retire but refuses to leave. "Because the part wasn't coming," he said. "Because Luca says a house that isn't trying to be perfect helps. Because Andrea thinks bathrooms are the last honest rooms. Because we were stupid about a sound and dumber about the hour. The phone did what phones do. It made a short from a mess and pretended it was a memory." "Did you kiss him?" I asked, breaking Matt's rule, because love is an amateur sport and I like losing sometimes. "No," he said, and he said it right. I wanted to be a person who could tell you that without flinching. He was flinching, which I was trying to count as proof of something good. We added 3 lines beneath the orange. No home tests after midnight without a text. If restlessness calls, we walk it together. If one of us feels more broken than brave, we stop the scene. He added one more, and this one I wish I had thought of. If you record with me. He underlined with that messy neatness of his that looks like a logo for grown-ups. For 5 days, the world let us pretend it had a bedtime. I delivered a cut without wanting to set a chair on fire. Sam found a bridge without trying to burn the song around it. We ate at exact hours, as if precision could be alchemy. Then Tuesday did what Tuesdays are born to do. People you added to shared albums can see new items, my phone said at 11:53 p.m., which is a deranged time for politeness. The thumbnail showed a table I knew well, hours, with 2 mugs, 2 phones, and a guitar pick that was staging a coup. The title was here. The metadata said 8:20 p.m. The live photo breathed, and I heard our hallway hum, the stupid radiator believing it's a river, and then Sam saying, "Hold on," to someone who wasn't me. The frame never turned. The voice never became a face. The clip ended like a coin trick. I didn't write. I moved the kitchen chair to the middle of the floor, our therapist's favorite circus act, and let my body read the room to my head. When Sam came home from the studio the next evening, he saw the chair and smiled the relief smile of someone grateful to be caught. "Move it with me." We slid the chair sideways as if new angles breed better verbs. "I almost added him to the album," he said. I didn't. I didn't because I knew I couldn't explain why I did. I didn't because I wanted a life I wouldn't have to footnote. "Good," I said. "Let's keep anything that needs footnotes out of the house." He got invited to a residency in the mountains, a week of window light and people who write as if the air has an opinion. He forwarded the email with every attachment like a man with nothing to hide. "I want to go without disappearing," he wrote. "I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, ask me, what did you write before what did you do?" I taped 2 short rules under the orange and touched them like promises. Addresses in the open. A good night here voice note every day. He sent weather reports that were also feelings. Today the table forgave me. Today the page didn't, but I kept it company. Today I don't know anything and I'm here. I sent a photo of the plant that refuses to die and a shot of the coffee with just enough crema to convince you magic has mechanics. At 12:41 a.m. on Wednesday, the little microphone appeared next to his name. Recording. No message ever arrived. I typed a demand, then turned it into a question, then deleted it because dignity is sometimes the absence of evidence. I moved the chair again because ridiculous things that work deserve tenure. He came back with a suitcase that didn't slam and a face that knew where it belonged. He put 2 pages on the table and watched them the way a parent watches a newborn through glass, proud, terrified, alive. "They're not good," he said. "They're mine," I said, and we called that revision. The album on my phone still exists. Some mornings my thumb goes to shared like a teenager to a bruise. I try to look at the thumbnails like nouns, not like verbs. This is what breakfast looks like. This is what a late light is. This is our doorway when it believes in itself. I've stopped adding alibis to my labels. Here, I write, this morning, this minute. This is the frame that chooses us. Last night, because the brain likes dares, I pressed and held the bathroom clip. I listened not for the laugh but for the first sound, the little zipper, the clink of glass, the stupid faucet that won't decide. I heard the room we made. I heard the radiator do its river impression. I heard myself breathing. It turns out I can be in a frame without being on camera. It turns out there are versions of jealousy that sound exactly like oxygen. At 05 this morning, I filmed the coffee rising because ritual is cheaper than religion and works better on Tuesdays. I wrote here in the caption because words like practice. Sam reached into the frame, palm to my palm without touching, a lid that doesn't claim to seal. Here, he said. He took the marker from under the orange magnet and added one more line to the rules without asking permission. If we're about to teach a room our names, we do it in the same room. If another night hands me an honest misunderstanding, a live photo that laughs around corners, an album that forgets to keep its hands to itself, a thumbnail that refuses to admit how small it is, I hope I do the handful of humiliating, useful things that have made us a little less dramatic and a little more true. Put water on. Move the chair. Ask why before who. Wait for the key in the lock like it's the first note in a song you still want to learn. Let shared keep its nouns. The rest, bathrooms that believe in cinema, albums that believe in destiny, laughter that practiced elsewhere, can stay where they belong. Background. If we're any good at this, we'll keep being the address. And when we can't be, we'll at least have a table, 2 mugs, an orange magnet, and a chair willing to be ridiculous and effective in equal measure.